The very reason most people remain trapped in their current circumstances, unable to manifest their dreams, lies in their misunderstanding of one fundamental principle. You see, the world you experience at this very moment is nothing more than the outward projection of your inner assumptions. Every success, every failure, every circumstance in your life is a direct reflection of what you have accepted as true in your consciousness. The key step that most people miss, and this is crucial, is that they fail to occupy the state of the wish fulfilled. They pray, they hope, they work hard, but they continue to live from their current state of consciousness, rather than the state they desire to express. Let me explain this more deeply. When you want something, be it wealth, love, success, or any other desire, you must first understand that it already exists in what I call the fourth dimensional world. This is the world of infinite possibilities, the world of imagination, where all things already exist in their perfect form. The secret lies not in working towards your desire, but in accepting that you already possess it. This is where most people stumble. They continue to see their desire as something to be achieved in the future, thereby perpetuating the state of wanting rather than having. Think for a moment. When you say, "I want to be successful," you are actually confirming and reinforcing your current state of lack. You are declaring to your subconscious mind that success is something outside of you, something you don't currently possess. This very assumption keeps you locked in the state of wanting. Instead, you must dare to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. If you desire success, you must go about your day feeling successful, thinking from success, acting from success, not as a future state to be achieved, but as a present fact. This is not mere positive thinking or affirmation. This is a complete transformation of your consciousness. You must feel the naturalness of being what you want to be. If you desire wealth, you must feel wealthy now. If you desire love, you must feel loved now. If you desire success, you must feel successful now. The power of your assumption, when persisted in, becomes your reality. This is law. Just as the seed contains within itself the full potential of the mature plant, your consciousness contains within itself the full potential of all you desire to be. Most people live their entire lives never realizing that their imagination is actually the very substance of reality. They see imagination as mere fantasy, as something separate from what they call reality. But I tell you this, your imagination is reality itself in its first stage of manifestation. To say this, everything you now accept as real in your world was once only imagined. The chair you're sitting on, the clothes you're wearing, the building you're in, all were first imagined before they became what you now accept as reality. This is the pattern of creation. The same principle applies to your desires. The state you wish to occupy already exists in your imagination. It is as real as anything you now accept as fact. The only difference is your assumption about what is real and what is imagined. Let me share with you a profound truth. You never attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is determined by the state you occupy in consciousness. This is why affirmations alone often fail. You cannot affirm externally what you deny internally. The key step that people miss is the complete surrender to the state desired. They try to make things happen instead of allowing things to happen through the natural law of assumption. They stand outside their desire, looking at it instead of living from within it. When you truly grasp this principle, you will understand that there is nothing to change but your assumptions about yourself and your world. The outer world must conform to your inner assumptions. This is law. Many of you sit here tonight thinking, Yes, but how do I change my assumptions? The answer is simpler than you might imagine. It requires a complete reversal of your traditional thinking. Instead of working hard to achieve something, you must assume that you already have it. The art of assumption is the most vital skill you must master. When you assume a state, you must persist in that state until it becomes your dominant feeling. This is where people falter. They test the law instead of proving it through persistent assumption. Think about this carefully. Every night when you sleep, you enter different states in your dreams. In those dreams, you experience sights, sounds, and sensations that feel completely real. Where do these experiences come from? They come from consciousness itself. They come from consciousness deliberately creating these experiences. The difference between your dream state and your waking state is only in the intensity of your assumption. What you now consider reality is simply a more intense and persistent dream that you've collectively agreed upon. Now, here's where most people miss the crucial step. They fail to understand that they can wake up from their current dream, their current state, by assuming a new state with the same intensity that they assume their present state. You see, at this very moment, you are assuming certain things about yourself. You're assuming your name, your job, your relationships, your financial status. These assumptions feel so natural to you that you don't even question them. This is the key. Whatever you assume with complete conviction must externalize itself in your world. But here's the vital truth that most miss. You can assume something new with the same naturalness. This is not pretense. This is not make-believe. This is the creative use of the same power that sustains your present assumptions. When you go to sleep tonight, you naturally assume you're in your bed. You don't question it. You don't doubt it. The same unquestioning acceptance must be applied to your desired state. Listen carefully now, for this is where the secret of manifestation lies. When you assume your desire fulfilled, you must do it with the same naturalness with which you assume your bed is real when you lie down to sleep. This naturalness is the key that most seekers miss. Your imagination, when properly directed, is not mere daydreaming. It is the very substance of reality. Every time you imagine something, you are literally creating a mold into which the substance of your world will flow. But, and this is crucial, you must remain faithful to your imaginal act. Most people perform an imaginal act and then return to their old state of consciousness. They imagine themselves wealthy for a moment, then open their eyes and react to their current financial situation. This vacillation between states prevents the manifestation of their desire. You must understand this. The moment you assume a new state, your entire world must rearrange itself to accommodate your new assumption. This is law, but you must give it time to externalize. The seed must have time to grow. Let me share with you a principle that few understand. Time is not a distance to be traveled. It is a sequence of states to be experienced. When you assume your desire fulfilled, you have actually entered the state where your desire exists. The time it takes to externalize is merely the time required for you to feel natural in that state. Most people fail because they don't grasp this truth. The feeling of naturalness is the key. If being wealthy feels unnatural to you, if being loved feels unnatural, if success feels unnatural, then you are not truly occupying that state. You are merely visiting it in your imagination. You must persist in your new state until it feels just as natural as your present state now feels. This is where faith comes in. Not faith in some external power, but faith in the law that consciousness is the only reality. When you truly grasp this, you will understand that there is nothing to change but your conception of self. Change that, and you change your entire world. Now let me share with you something profound about the nature of your consciousness. Your I amness, your awareness of being, is God Himself individualized. When you say I am, you are proclaiming the name of God, for that is the true name of God. I am that I am. A fatal mistake that most people make is that they do not understand this power of I am. They use it unconsciously, carelessly, not realizing that whatever follows I am is what they are decreeing into existence. When you say I am poor, I am sick, I am unlucky, you are literally commanding these states into being. This is the key step that people miss. They do not watch their assumptions. Every time you react to an event, every time you speak about yourself, you are setting into motion the law that shapes your world. Your I am is your consciousness, and your consciousness is the only reality. Consider this. Right now you are saying, I am to everything you accept as true about yourself. These assumptions have become so natural that you don't even recognize them as assumptions. They feel like facts. But I tell you, they are only facts because you have given them the power of your assumption. The secret of manifestation lies in transferring your awareness from one state to another. You must cease to be the person you believe yourself to be and assume the consciousness of the person you wish to be. This is not pretense. This is the creative use of the only power that exists. When you say, I am successful, I am wealthy, I am loved, you are not lying to yourself. You are actually entering into that state in consciousness. And since consciousness is the only reality, you are literally creating that reality. But, and this is crucial, you must persist in that state until it feels natural. This is where most people fail. They make a bold declaration of what they want to be, but they don't persist until it feels natural. They don't give the seed time to grow. You see, manifestation follows a divine pattern. Just as a seed must be planted and given time to grow, your assumption must be planted in consciousness and given time to externalize. The law operates with mathematical precision. Whatever you are conscious of being, you will manifest. There is no other way. This is why your current world perfectly reflects your past assumption. Every detail of your life, every relationship, every circumstance is the flowering of seeds you have planted in your consciousness. Most people spend their lives trying to change things on the outside while maintaining the same consciousness. They try to change their world while remaining in the same state. This is like trying to harvest different fruits while planting the same seeds. It is against law. Listen carefully now, for I am about to share with you the secret of effective prayer. True prayer is not begging or beseeching an external power. True prayer is assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled when you pray. You must pray believing that you have already received. This is where faith enters. But faith is not what most people think it is. Faith is not believing that something will happen in the future. Faith is accepting as fact what your senses deny. It is living from the end, feeling the reality of your desire fulfilled while your senses tell you otherwise. Most people miss this crucial step. They pray and then look for evidence of answer. But I tell you, the evidence will only appear after you have persisted in your assumption. You must live as though your prayer has already been answered. Think about this. When you order something from a catalog, you don't keep ordering it over and over. You place the order once and then wait for its delivery. The same is true with your desires. You place your order with consciousness by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. And then you wait in the absolute confidence that it must externalize. But here's the vital point that most miss. While you're waiting, you must maintain the consciousness of having already received. You must live from the end. Your actions, your words, your attitudes must all spring from the assumption that your desire is already a fact. This is not easy, I know. The evidence of your senses will constantly try to pull you back to your old state. But you must persist. You must remain faithful to your assumption despite all evidence to the contrary. Let me share with you another crucial aspect that most people overlook. Your consciousness is not confined to your physical body. Your consciousness extends to everything you are aware of. Therefore, when you change your consciousness, you change everything that falls within its range. This is why you cannot change others directly. You can only change them by changing your consciousness of them. Whatever you consciously assume about another must be manifested in your relationship with them. This is law. Most people try to change others through external means, through persuasion, through force, through manipulation. But I tell you, the only way to change another is to change your consciousness of them. Change your assumption about them, and they must conform to your new assumption. This applies to every area of your life. Your financial situation, your health, your relationships, all are simply outpicturings of your assumptions. When you change your assumption, the whole vast world must change to reflect your new consciousness. But here is where people stumble. They do not persist in their new assumption long enough for it to become natural. They venture into a new state of consciousness, but retreat at the first sign of contradiction. They are like farmers who dig up the seed to see if it's growing. You must understand this. The time between your assumption and its manifestation is not a period of inaction. It is a period of gestation. Just as a pregnant woman carries her child while going about her normal activities, you must carry your assumption while continuing with your daily life. During this period, you may face what seem to be contradictions to your assumption. Your senses may tell you that nothing has changed. This is the time when most people abandon their assumption and return to their old state. But I tell you, these apparent contradictions are actually signs that the law is working. Just as a seed must first dissolve before it can grow, your old conditions must often appear to worsen before they give way to your new state. This is law. The old must die for the new to be born. The key step that most people miss is not in the doing, but in the being. They focus on what they must do to achieve their desires, when they should be focusing on what they must be. Remember this eternal truth. Your world is yourself, pushed out. Everything you see, everything you experience is simply yourself, externalized. There is no one to change but self. When you change your concept of self, you change your entire world. The great secret of life is this. There is no one to tell you no except yourself. There is no one to deny you except yourself. There is no one to delay your good except yourself. You are the power you have been seeking. You are the authority you have been waiting for. In closing, let me give you this final crucial understanding. Tonight, as you leave this place, you have a choice. You can continue to live from your old assumptions, thereby perpetuating your current conditions. Or you can dare to assume a new state of consciousness, thereby creating a new world. The choice is yours and yours alone. But remember this, whatever state you assume, whatever concept you hold of yourself, will externalize itself in your world with mathematical precision. This is not theory, and this is law. So I say to you, dare to assume that you are what you want to be. Dare to enter into the state of your wish fulfilled. Dare to live from the end. Go forth now, not to make things happen, but to allow things to happen by virtue of your changed consciousness. Go forth, not to achieve, but to receive what is already yours by right of consciousness. You are the God of your universe, and your consciousness is the only reality.
My friends, there is a truth so simple that once grasped, it changes everything. You have been taught to beg, to plead, to ask endlessly for what you desire, as though the universe were reluctant, as though the source of creation withholds its gifts. But begging is the language of lack. To beg is to confess that you do not yet have, and what you do not have is exactly what you continue to experience. Instead of begging, learn to receive. Receiving is not about waiting for something to appear. Receiving is assuming it is already yours. The instant you can claim inwardly, without doubt, that your desire is fulfilled, you step into possession. You are no longer a seeker. You are an owner. Imagination is the only true stage where creation begins. Everything you see around you once lived in the unseen. Every invention, every relationship, every fortune began first as an accepted reality within someone's imagination. And so it is with you. The moment you accept in imagination that you already are what you wish to be, the world outside bends to confirm it. Difference is the great illusion. Many struggle, chase, and exhaust themselves, believing that manifestation requires strain, but forcing is the admission that you do not believe. True manifestation is not a labor, it is a release. It is allowing the inner picture to bloom without interference. Just as a seed becomes a tree without effort, your assumption becomes reality without struggle. Hold to the silent inner knowing. Do not shout your dreams to the world, nor broadcast your desires from a place of need. It is not the noise of your words, but the conviction of your state that creates. The world mirrors back not what you demand, but what you embody in the quiet of your soul. Live in the end. Feel the wish fulfilled now. Walk, speak, and think as though your prayer has already been answered. And then, watch how life reorganizes itself with precision and perfection to deliver that which you have already received within. So I say to you today, stop begging, start receiving. The key to effortless manifestation lies not in struggle, but in assumption, not in pleading, but in knowing, not in effort, but in being. Creation is finished. Step into your inheritance and live the reality you have claimed. Begging is the voice of lack, the silent confession that says, I do not have, and therefore I must plead to receive. Every time a person begs, whether with words, with desperate prayers, or with anxious thoughts, they reinforce the belief that their desire is distant, separate, and withheld from them. The universe does not respond to begging because begging is not faith, it is doubt in disguise. To beg is to look outside oneself, believing that the power lies elsewhere, when in truth the creative power resides within. The outer world is only a reflection of the inner state. If you continually affirm that you are lacking, life has no choice but to mirror that lack back to you in countless forms. When you ask repeatedly from a place of desperation, you do not communicate certainty, you communicate fear. You do not affirm possession, you affirm distance. Think of a beggar on the street. His extended hand does not say, I am wealthy, it silently announces, I have nothing. In the same way, when you plead for your desires, you unknowingly declare, I am not yet the one who has. This posture of mind keeps the desired state locked away, not because the universe is cruel, but because creation simply reflects what you assume to be true about yourself. Begging is often rooted in the belief that there is a higher force reluctant to bless you a gatekeeper who must be convinced, persuaded, or moved by tears. But the truth is the opposite. Life withholds nothing. All possibilities exist, waiting for you to align with them. The delay does not come from the giver, but from the receiver. A clenched, desperate hand cannot take hold of a gift. Only a calm, open hand can. Likewise, a desperate mind cannot receive, because desperation is the signal of non-possession. The law is simple. You cannot experience what you do not first accept within. The shift from begging to receiving begins inwardly. Instead of saying, "Please give me," learn to declare, "It is mine now." Instead of looking outward for signs, turn inward and embody the state of the wish fulfilled. When you rest in the awareness of already having, you no longer beg, you receive. And the moment you receive within, life begins to reorganize itself to reflect your inner acceptance. What once felt distant suddenly flows naturally toward you, because you have ceased to push it away with the vibration of lack. Understand this. Begging does not move mountains, but faith does. Faith is not repeated asking. Faith is assuming the answer is already given. Each time you affirm possession in your imagination, you step into a new identity. You are no longer the one who seeks, but the one who has. And as your identity shifts, your reality must shift with it. For the outer world cannot resist the authority of your inner state. So release the posture of begging. Stop affirming lack through desperate words and anxious thoughts. Stand tall within your imagination. Receive the gift as though it were already yours, and live from that knowing. The world will mirror it back to you with exact precision, for life never denies the one who claims, but only the one who begs. Assumption is the invisible bridge between desire and fulfillment. To assume is not to wish or to hope, it is to take possession in consciousness of that which your senses cannot yet verify. When you assume, you are no longer looking for signs, you are no longer waiting for confirmation, and you are no longer measuring time against your desire. You step into the end, you wear it as an identity, and you live as though it is already yours. This inner shift is the secret of all manifestation, for reality bends not to effort, but to the state you occupy. To live in the state of already having without doubt is to magnetize reality toward you. When you feel rich, even before the money arrives, life organizes itself to reflect that inner richness. When you feel loved, even before another person shows affection, opportunities for love unfold naturally. It is never the outer event that makes you secure. It is the inner state that draws the event into being. Assumption is receiving, because the moment you assume, you have already accepted the gift within. Life only delivers outwardly what you have first received inwardly. Doubt, on the other hand, is the great thief. The moment you say, "But what if it doesn't happen?" you step back into the state of not having. You return to the posture of a seeker, and what you seek always stays just out of reach. Assumption requires courage, the courage to ignore appearances and live as though the unseen were already fact. It asks you to trust the unseen law rather than the evidence of your senses. And yet, once you understand, it becomes the most natural thing in the world. Think of an actor who takes on a role. On stage, he assumes the identity of a king. Though he owns no crown in real life, in that moment of assumption, he walks, speaks, and rules as though the kingdom were his. In the same way, you must assume the role of the person you wish to be, not half-heartedly, but fully. When you do, You are no longer pretending, you are being. And being is what the world responds to. Assumption does not strain, it does not beg, it does not wait anxiously. Assumption rests. It rests in the knowledge that creation is already finished and that what you claim inwardly must find its way to you. It is effortless magnetism, not forceful effort. You do not chase, you attract. You do not struggle, you allow. The inner knowing acts like a silent command, summoning people, circumstances, and events to mirror the state you occupy. To assume is to receive, because the two are one and the same. You cannot truly assume something without receiving it inwardly, and once you have received inwardly, the outer reflection is guaranteed. The law is faithful, the mirror cannot lie. Therefore, live in the end. Assume the state of the fulfilled desire. Feel it real. Walk in its certainty and know that the world has no choice but to conform. What you dare to assume, you inevitably receive. Imagination is the womb of reality, the invisible workshop where all things are conceived before they are born into form. Nothing in this world exists that was not first imagined. The house you live in, the clothes you wear, the very device you hold in your hand, all of it was first pictured in the unseen mind of someone who dared to accept their vision as real. To imagine is to create, for imagination is not daydreaming, it is the shaping force of consciousness itself. What you accept inwardly as true must eventually harden into fact outwardly, because the outer world is nothing more than the crystallized shadow of your inner world. Most people misuse imagination without realizing it. They imagine failure, rejection, poverty, and loss, and then wonder why these conditions seem to chase them through life. They call it bad luck, but it is only bad imagining. You cannot continually dwell on an idea, picture it vividly, and feel it deeply without planting it into the soil of reality. Every repeated thought clothed in emotion becomes a seed, and every seed brings forth after its kind. The law is exact, and it does not discriminate. Whether you imagine good or evil, abundance or lack, life faithfully mirrors what you hold within. The power lies in acceptance. Imagination by itself is only pictures floating in the mind, but once you accept what you imagine as true, it moves from fantasy into creative power. Acceptance seals the image, making it a state of being rather than a passing thought. That is why idle wishing produces nothing, but a deeply felt assumption produces miracles. To accept inwardly is to claim ownership, and once you have claimed it within, the outer world must conform. Consider the artist who envisions a painting before a brush ever touches the canvas. The image already exists in his mind, complete and finished. The canvas and the paint are only the medium through which the invisible vision takes visible form. In the same way, your imagination is the true creative act, and the world outside is only the canvas that reflects your inner strokes. Creation does not begin in the outer, it begins in the inner, and the outer merely catches up. To live consciously is to direct this power wisely. Instead of letting the mind wander in fear or replay old memories of pain, you can choose to imagine the life you wish to live. Enter it in imagination as though it were real now. Walk its streets, speak its words, feel its joy. The more vivid and natural it becomes in your inner world, the sooner it must take shape in your outer experience. What you repeatedly and sincerely accept as true cannot remain invisible for long. So guard your imagination as you would guard a sacred treasure. Do not allow it to be polluted with images of doubt, fear, or limitation. Train it to dwell only on what you desire to experience. For imagination is creation, and the moment you accept the unseen picture as reality, the world begins to bend itself to reveal it. Life is nothing more than imagination pushed out, and what you dare to claim within will inevitably become the life you live without. Effort is the great deceiver, the illusion that convinces you that by struggling harder, by forcing circumstances, or by pushing yourself against the current, you can achieve what you desire. Yet all true creation is effortless. The seed does not strain to become a tree, the river does not force its way to the ocean, and the sun does not struggle to rise. Nature operates with ease, in harmony with the invisible law, and so too must you, if you wish to manifest without resistance. Forcing, struggling, or striving only affirms one thing, that you do not believe it is already yours. Effort is the confession of doubt. When you struggle, you declare subconsciously, it is not done. I must make it happen by my own force. But the truth is that creation is already finished. Every possible outcome exists. Your task is not to manufacture it, but to align with it. The state of alignment is not one of tension, but of rest. Manifestation becomes natural when you release the need to push and instead allow yourself to receive. To receive requires openness, and openness cannot coexist with strain. Effort blocks flow because it tightens the mind. A mind full of worry and pressure cannot see the opportunities, synchronicities, and natural openings that life presents. It becomes blind to the gentle nudges of intuition. But when you relax into faith, when you act from the assumption that your desire is already secured, you become receptive. The flow of life begins to carry you. Doors open without knocking, paths appear without searching, and what once seemed distant arrives with perfect timing. Think of water in a river. When the current flows smoothly, it moves swiftly and powerfully. But if you place large rocks in the way, the water churns, struggles, and loses its ease. Effort is like placing rocks in your own stream of consciousness. It creates turbulence, not clarity. Remove the rocks of doubt and resistance, and the flow becomes effortless again. Life knows how to deliver what belongs to you if you will allow it. True manifestation is not passivity. It is inspired action that arises naturally from the state of already having. You are not told to sit idly, but to act from conviction rather than from fear. There is a vast difference between forcing action out of desperation and allowing action to flow from certainty. One drains you, the other uplifts you. One affirms lack, the other affirms possession. When you are aligned with your desire, the actions you take feel joyful, light, and inevitable, not heavy or strained. To manifest effortlessly is to imitate nature itself. The flower does not worry about blooming, yet it blooms. The seasons turn without struggle, the stars move without effort, and your breath flows without conscious command. Why then should your dreams require strain? The law of creation is not one of labor, but of belief. When you believe, you release. When you release, you flow. And when you flow, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. So let go of forcing. Stop pushing against life as though it were your enemy. Step into faith, relax into the knowing that what you seek is already yours, and let the current of life carry you. Struggle is resistance, rest is alignment. The art of effortless manifestation is found not in effort, but in surrender. Silent inner knowing is the hidden force that shapes your life more powerfully than anything you say aloud. The world does not bend to the noise of your words, your repeated affirmations, or your public declarations. It bends to the quiet conviction you carry deep within. the unshakable awareness of who you are and what is already yours. You may speak endlessly of your desires, you may shout them to the heavens, but if within you there is doubt, insecurity, or disbelief, then the outer world reflects that inner conflict. Creation answers not to your lips, but to your state of being. This is why two people can speak the same words yet produce entirely different results. One person declares, "I am wealthy," yet feels poor inside. The other may never even speak of wealth, but silently lives in the conviction that abundance is his natural state. The first remains in lack, while the second inevitably attracts prosperity. Words without belief are empty shells. Conviction without words is irresistible power. The inner state is always stronger than outer performance. Silent inner knowing is the language of the unseen. It is not about repeating phrases until you believe them, but about resting in the calm awareness that your desire is fulfilled. There is no strain in this knowing, no desperation, no need to convince anyone, not even yourself. It is the stillness of absolute faith, the same kind of knowing that you have about your own name. You do not repeat to yourself, "My name is this," 10 times a day to remember it. You simply know. That same level of certainty is what manifestation requires. The outer world, though it appears solid and independent, is nothing more than a mirror. A mirror does not reflect your words, it reflects your posture, your expression, your state. If you frown while saying, "I am happy," the mirror does not lie. In the same way, life does not respond to the declarations you speak, but to the reality you embody. If within you there is fear, the mirror reflects situations that justify fear. If within you there is joy, the mirror reflects circumstances that multiply joy. To cultivate silent inner knowing, you must step into the state of the wish fulfilled and rest there as naturally as breathing. Feel the reality of your desire so deeply that it ceases to feel like a desire at all. It feels like a fact. When you move through life with that quiet confidence, people sense it, opportunities align, and circumstances shift without your loud effort. This is why those who quietly believe seem to attract effortlessly, while those who loudly declare yet inwardly doubt remain stuck. Silence is powerful because it leaves no room for contradiction. Outer words can betray you, revealing your insecurity. But inner knowing has no cracks. It is whole, complete, and self-sustaining. The one who knows within does not need to persuade anyone outside. He does not chase, he does not prove, he does not beg. He simply is. And because he is, the world has no choice but to conform. So stop worrying about what you say. Stop trying to convince the world or even yourself with repeated noise. Instead, go inward. Cultivate that still, calm, unshakable conviction. Rest in the silent inner knowing that it is already done. When this knowing becomes your natural state, the world will echo it faithfully, for it cannot resist the quiet authority of a heart that knows. So, living in the end is the highest secret of manifestation, for it bypasses all struggle, all waiting, and all uncertainty. To live in the end is to dwell in the result of your desire as though it were already here. It is to take possession of the finished picture in your imagination and wear it as your reality, regardless of appearances. The outer world may show the opposite, but when you live inwardly, in the end, life begins to bend, shift, and reorganize itself with flawless precision to reflect what you have already claimed within. The mistake most people make is that they live in the middle. They hold their desire at a distance, imagining it as something that might come someday if only they can work hard enough, pray long enough, or wait patiently enough. But to live in the middle is to delay endlessly. The law responds not to hope, but to assumption. Living in the end removes the distance between you and your desire, because in consciousness you have already arrived. The one who has arrived no longer waits, no longer wonders, no longer struggles. He simply rests in the fact of having. When you dwell in the end, you saturate your imagination with the feeling of fulfillment. If your desire is health, you no longer imagine yourself seeking healing. You feel the wholeness of already being well. If your desire is love, you no longer long for a partner. You live in the joy of already being loved and cherished. If your desire is abundance, you no longer dream of wealth as distant. You assume the identity of one who already walks in financial freedom. Keeping the end means embodying the state of completion so fully that the line between desire and possession disappears. The outer world must obey this shift. Life has no choice but to reorganize around the state you occupy, because consciousness is the cause of all experience. Circumstances, people, and opportunities will begin to align in ways you could never plan, as though an invisible hand were arranging the details for your benefit. What seems like coincidence is only the law in motion. What seems like chance is only the reflection of your inner state solidifying into fact. Living in the end does not mean ignoring present responsibilities or pretending blindly. It means carrying within yourself the quiet certainty of fulfillment, regardless of what the senses report. You may still take action, but your actions now flow from conviction rather than desperation. You no longer act to make it happen, you act because it has already happened. This difference transforms struggle into flow and worry into peace. To live in the end is to walk as the version of yourself who already has, already is, and already enjoys the life you once desired. You do not peek ahead to see if it is coming. You live as though it has come. And because consciousness is creative, the world cannot help but catch up. Life faithfully mirrors the end you have assumed. So step into the end boldly. Stop rehearsing the lack, stop anticipating the middle, and stop waiting for proof. Assume the end now, dwell in it with confidence, and watch as life reorganizes itself to deliver what you have already claimed in consciousness. The end is not ahead of you, it is within you, and once you live it inwardly, it must unfold outwardly. In the end, manifestation is not about begging, struggling, or waiting. It is about knowing. To beg is to affirm lack, but to assume is to receive. Imagination is the true place of creation, and what you accept inwardly must harden into fact outwardly. Effort only creates resistance, but rest allows the flow of life to move freely. Words spoken loudly may fade, but the silent inner conviction commands reality itself. And when you dare to live in the end, when you dwell in the state of already having, the world reorganizes itself with flawless precision to reflect what you have claimed within. All things are already finished. Every possibility exists right now, waiting for you to choose it. Stop begging for what is yours. Stop fighting for what is already given. Enter the inner state of possession, rest in its certainty, and watch as life mirrors your assumption. Creation is effortless because it is already complete. The only question is whether you will dare to receive by claiming it now. Thank you for lending me your time, your attention, and your open heart. May you leave here today no longer as a seeker, but as one who has found, no longer as a beggar, but as a receiver, and no longer as one who waits, but as one who lives. The end. Thank you, and may your assumptions unfold into the beautiful reality you deserve. When you desire something intensely, you often emit a vibration of lack rather than abundance. This is because wanting inherently acknowledges that you do not currently have the object of your desire. The universe, responding to the energy you project, mirrors that lack back to you, perpetuating the cycle of not having. To break free, you must shift from a state of wanting to a state of having, even before the manifestation appears in your reality. When you dwell in a state of wanting, you inadvertently place your focus on what is missing. This focus generates feelings of dissatisfaction, impatience, or even frustration. These emotions create resistance, blocking the very outcomes you wish to experience. The key to manifesting is not to dwell on the absence, but to embody the feeling of already having what you desire. By aligning yourself with the frequency of fulfillment, you invite the manifestation to unfold effortlessly. To wish for something and then let go is an act of profound trust. It signifies your belief that the universe is already orchestrating the perfect circumstances for your desire to materialize. Letting go does not mean abandoning your dream. Rather, it means releasing the need to control or obsess over the outcome. This surrender demonstrates faith in the unseen forces at work, clearing the way for your desire to come to fruition. The art of letting go requires a deliberate shift in focus. Instead of fixating on how or when your desire will manifest, direct your attention to cultivating a state of gratitude and joy in the present moment. Gratitude amplifies your vibration, creating a fertile ground for your manifestations to take root. By appreciating what you already have, you align yourself with the energy of abundance, which attracts more of the same into your life. To move away from wanting, you must understand the power of imagination. Imagination is the gateway to manifestation, allowing you to experience your desires in the present moment. When you visualize your desire as already achieved, you step into the state of the wish fulfilled. This state is free from lack, as it is rooted in the conviction that your desire is already yours. Through persistent and vivid visualization, you train your subconscious mind to accept this new reality. Living in the end is a practice that shifts your inner state. It requires you to think, feel, and act as though your desire has already been realized. By doing so, you bridge the gap between your current reality and the reality you wish to create. This mental shift dissolves the energy of wanting, replacing it with the calm assurance of having. As a result, the physical manifestation becomes inevitable. Belief is the cornerstone of manifestation. To manifest successfully, you must believe in the certainty of your desire's fulfillment. Doubt and disbelief create barriers, while unwavering faith propels your manifestations forward. Strengthen your belief by reminding yourself of past successes and the limitless potential of the universe. With faith as your foundation, you can release the need to want, knowing that your desire is already on its way. Detachment is the antidote to wanting. It is the practice of releasing your emotional grip on the outcome. When you are detached, you no longer cling to your desire with desperation or fear. Instead, you hold it lightly, trusting that it will manifest in divine timing. Detachment frees you from the pressure of wanting, allowing your manifestations to unfold naturally and effortlessly. A powerful way to cultivate detachment is through mindfulness. Mindfulness anchors you in the present moment where lack cannot exist. By immersing yourself in the here and now, you shift your focus away from what is missing and towards the richness of your current experience. This presence creates a space of openness and receptivity, inviting your desires to flow into your life with ease. Affirmations are a practical tool to reprogram your mind and align with the energy of having. By repeating affirmations that embody your desired state, you overwrite limiting beliefs and dissolve feelings of lack. For example, instead of saying, "I want love," affirm, "I am loved and cherished." This subtle shift reinforces the vibration of fulfillment, erasing the need for wanting. The energy you emit is a reflection of your inner state. To attract what you desire, you must first embody the qualities and feelings associated with it. If you seek love, become love. If you seek abundance, embody abundance. By radiating the energy of having, you magnetize experiences that match your vibration, eliminating the cycle of lack created by wanting. Faith in the unseen is a powerful aspect of letting go. Trust that the universe knows the best way to bring your desire to fruition. The path may not always align with your expectations, but it will always lead to the highest good. This trust allows you to release the need to want, replacing it with a quiet confidence in the perfection of the process. Self-concept plays a pivotal role in manifestation. The way you perceive yourself determines what you attract. If you see yourself as someone who lacks, you will continue to experience lack. Conversely, when you shift your self-concept to align with your desires, you become a magnet for their realization. Cultivate a self-image that reflects abundance, love, and success, and watch as your reality transforms. Gratitude is a bridge from wanting to having. When you express gratitude for your desire as though it has already been fulfilled, you create a powerful alignment with the energy of receiving. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, dissolving the resistance that wanting creates. Make gratitude a daily practice and witness the profound impact it has on your manifestations. The principle of assumption is a cornerstone of manifestation. To assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled is to claim it as your reality. This assumption bypasses the need to want, as it places you directly in the state of having. Persist in this assumption until it hardens into fact and your desired outcome will materialize in your life. The law of correspondence teaches that your outer world reflects your inner state. If you wish to change your external circumstances, you must first shift your internal vibration. Release the energy of wanting by embodying the qualities of having. As you do so, your reality will begin to mirror the fulfillment you feel within. Emotions are a powerful driver of manifestation. The emotions you cultivate act as signals to the universe, shaping your experiences. Replace the frustration of wanting with the joy of having, even if only in your imagination. This emotional shift accelerates the manifestation process, aligning you with the outcomes you desire. Patience is a virtue in the process of letting go. Trust that your manifestations will arrive in divine timing and resist the urge to rush the process. Impatience stems from a place of lack, while patience signals your faith in the unseen. Meditation is a powerful practice for releasing the energy of wanting. Through meditation, you quiet the mind and connect with your inner self. This stillness creates a space of detachment where you can let go of the need to control or grasp at your desires. In this state, you align with the flow of the universe, inviting your manifestations to unfold effortlessly. Visualization is a creative tool that bridges the gap between wanting and having. By vividly imagining your desire as already achieved, you step into the feeling of fulfillment. This practice trains your subconscious mind to accept your desired reality, dissolving the energy of lack. Consistent visualization anchors you in the state of having, accelerating the manifestation process. Trust that the universe is working behind the scenes to bring your desires to life. This trust allows you to release the need for wanting, replacing it with a serene confidence in the outcome. When you trust fully, you open yourself to receive the blessings that are already on their way. The energy of receiving is receptive and open. To manifest, you must shift from wanting to receiving. This shift involves releasing resistance and allowing the universe to deliver your desires in the best possible way. Cultivate an attitude of openness and gratitude and watch as your manifestations flow to you with ease. Your words shape your reality. Pay attention to the language you use when speaking about your desires. Replace phrases like I want with I have or I am. This linguistic shift aligns your vibration with the state of having, dissolving the energy of lack. Speak as though your desire is already yours, and it will become so. Awareness is the first step in breaking free from the cycle of wanting. Notice when you are caught in the energy of lack and consciously redirect your focus. Choose thoughts and feelings that align with the state of having and persist in this new vibration. With practice, you will reprogram your mind to naturally gravitate towards abundance. I want you to take a deep breath and truly hear this. Something monumental, something life-changing is already taking shape for you. Right now, unseen forces are aligning in perfect order, orchestrating events that will bring your deepest desires to fruition. And yet, all of this depends on one simple thing: your belief. Your mind is not a passive observer of life. Every feeling you entertain, every assumption you hold, is actively shaping your reality. If you doubt, you create delay. But if you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the universe bends to that conviction. That is why it is essential to live as though what you desire is already yours. Feel it, see it, own it in your imagination. Do not be distracted by the chaos around you. Your present circumstances are not your verdict. They are merely the raw material waiting to be transformed by your inner belief. Keep your inner conversations positive, confident, and aligned with your vision. Speak to yourself about your life as if the victory is already here. The world outside will eventually echo the story you tell inside. Gratitude is your secret weapon. Begin to feel thankful for the manifestation you cannot yet see. Thank the universe for the doors that are opening, for the opportunities you will soon encounter, for the joy that is on its way. Gratitude accelerates the process. It signals to your inner world that you are ready to receive, and when you are ready, nothing can stop the unfolding of your desire. Your imagination is your workshop. Every night when you close your eyes, every quiet moment in the day, this is your opportunity to shape your reality. See the life you want vividly, and let yourself live in that reality, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. The more real it feels to you, the sooner it will materialize. So do not despair. Do not question the timing. Something big is indeed coming together for you. The unseen currents are moving. Your dreams are arranging themselves in perfect harmony. The key is to hold your faith, to persist in the inner knowing, and to believe without reservation. Keep imagining, keep feeling, keep expecting. The universe responds not to your words, not to your plans, but to the reality you assume in your heart. And right now, in this very moment, the seeds of your greatest victory are taking root. Trust the process. Remain steadfast. Something extraordinary is on its way. And when it arrives, you will recognize it as the natural consequence of your unwavering belief. Keep believing. Your reality is listening. Every experience you have in life begins in the invisible realm of your imagination and your feelings. The outer world is merely a reflection of your inner state. It mirrors exactly what you assume to be true within yourself. When you feel a sense of lack, limitation, or fear, the world outside you responds by presenting circumstances that match those feelings. Conversely, when you embody joy, confidence, and the certainty of fulfillment, Life itself arranges to reflect that reality back to you. This is the profound truth. Your feeling is the seed, and your reality is the fruit. Many people go through life believing that external events shape their emotions, but this is a reversal of the natural order. The truth is that what you feel first creates the conditions that eventually appear outside. For example, if you imagine yourself succeeding, living in abundance, and being fully loved, your inner world vibrates with that truth, and gradually the external world adjusts to make that inner assumption tangible. The key lies in persistent, unwavering feeling. It is not enough to simply wish or think. The feeling must be deeply accepted as reality. Your imagination is a powerful tool, and it speaks the language of feeling. When you engage with it, you must not treat it as a fantasy or a distant possibility. Every time you allow yourself to feel the reality of your desire as if it is already accomplished, you are impressing your subconscious with a new assumption. This assumption works silently but tirelessly to manifest circumstances, events, and opportunities that align perfectly with it. The universe does not argue or negotiate with your belief. It simply mirrors it back to you. Even small shifts in feeling can dramatically change the course of your life. When you choose to feel secure in the face of uncertainty, to feel gratitude before receiving, or to feel love instead of resentment, you are rewriting the blueprint of your future. The outer world cannot resist the internal conviction of your imagination. It may take time for the evidence to appear, but it is always moving toward the reflection of your dominant feelings. It is essential to recognize the power of subtle, consistent feeling. Fleeting moments of doubt may seem harmless, but repeated negative assumptions can take root and shape your circumstances. On the other hand, consciously cultivating positive, confident, and fulfilled feelings every day ensures that your external world aligns naturally with your desired reality. Your inner state is not just a personal experience, it is a creative force that shapes everything you encounter. The moment you understand this principle, everything changes. Life is no longer a matter of random chance, luck, or external control. It becomes a mirror reflecting the reality you choose to assume within. Whatever you feel to be true in the inner world consistently and convincingly inevitably finds its way into the outer world. Your feelings are not incidental. They are your most potent instrument of creation to change your life. Therefore, begin by mastering the feeling. Live in the state of your fulfilled desire, believe it to be true, and watch as the world rearranges itself in perfect harmony with what you have assumed. The moment you truly assume the feeling of fulfillment, you step into the realm where your desires cease to be distant wishes and begin to take tangible form. To assume the fulfillment is to live, breathe, and act as if what you long for has already arrived. It is not merely an act of pretending, it is the conscious decision to align your inner world with the reality you wish to experience. Every action, every thought, and every emotion becomes an expression of that assumed state. And in doing so, you send a signal to the universe that you are ready to receive. Most people live their lives in a state of anticipation, always waiting for circumstances to validate their desires. They measure their happiness against what has not yet come and overlook the power they already possess. To assume the fulfillment, however, is to invert this approach. You no longer wait for evidence outside yourself. Instead, you create the evidence within. You allow yourself to feel the satisfaction, joy, and completeness that accompany the realization of your desire, and by doing so, you impress your subconscious mind with the reality of your wish already accomplished. This assumption is not limited to idle daydreaming. It requires active engagement. You speak, act, and move as if your life is already filled with the blessings you seek. If your desire is financial abundance, you act responsibly, confidently, and generously as someone who already possesses wealth. If it is love, you carry yourself with the self-assuredness and warmth of someone who is fully loved and cherished. Every movement, every word, and every thought must reflect the inner conviction that what you desire is not in the distant future, but is your present reality. The power of assuming the fulfillment lies in its consistency. Momentary acts of faith are not enough. You must inhabit your desired state continuously. This does not mean ignoring the present or becoming detached from life. It means holding steadfastly to the inner conviction that your desire is already fulfilled, while navigating the external world with the same certainty. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between actual experience and vivid assumed reality. When you assume the state of fulfillment, it accepts this as truth and begins to orchestrate circumstances, people, and events that correspond to that state. Many falter because they focus on the how or when of manifestation. Assuming the fulfillment removes these concerns. You no longer question the process or the timing. You only concern yourself with the feeling of having already arrived. It is a state of absolute trust and inner satisfaction. The universe responds not to your doubts or hesitations, but to the unwavering certainty of your assumed state. Assuming the fulfillment is the secret that bridges desire and reality. It is the key that unlocks the creative power within you. When you live and act as though your desire is already accomplished, you are not creating in the future, you are bringing it into the present. You embody it, you feel it, and the outer world inevitably rearranges itself to reflect this inner truth. This is the invisible law of manifestation. What you assume with conviction becomes your reality. Persistence in your vision is the invisible force that transforms desire into reality. Every great achievement, every life-altering event begins with a vision held steadfastly in the mind and heart. To persist means to remain unwavering in your assumption, even when the outer world appears to contradict your inner belief. It is not the circumstances outside that determine your success, but the consistency of your inner state. Doubt, hesitation, and questioning are the enemies of manifestation, for they interrupt the current of creative power flowing from your imagination into the world. When you commit to your vision, you are making a declaration to the universe. You will not be moved from the truth you have assumed. Many people give up too soon, surrendering to appearances or the lack of immediate results. They allow their minds to be swayed by circumstances and temporary setbacks, forgetting that the outer world is only a mirror of the inner. Persistence is the silent insistence that your desired state is real, that it is inevitable, and that nothing can alter the destiny you are imagining. The moment you waver, the outer world pauses in its response. The manifestation slows, delays, or seems to disappear. Faith, unwavering and absolute, is the fuel that propels your vision toward reality. Faith is not blind hope. It is the certainty born of inner knowing. It is the inner conviction that what you see and feel in your imagination is more real than the temporary evidence of the senses. Each day, each hour, each moment that you maintain the feeling of your fulfilled desire, you are sending a clear signal to the subconscious mind. This signal is received without question and begins to orchestrate events, align circumstances, and attract the people necessary to bring your vision into the physical realm. The unseen world cannot resist a mind and heart that persist with unwavering faith. Persistence also requires patience. The manifestation may not appear on your timetable, and often the process involves adjustments, delays, or apparent contradictions. Yet, these are not signs of failure. They are simply the universe arranging the perfect conditions for the fulfillment of your desire. To persist is to trust this process without reservation. It is to maintain the inner feeling of satisfaction, joy, and certainty, knowing that the desired reality is already in motion and only awaiting the perfect moment to appear. Every doubt you allow, every moment you question the unfolding, weakens the power of your vision. But every act of persistence strengthens it, reinforces it, and propels it closer to manifestation. Your faith is a current. It flows invisibly, shaping circumstances, bending events, and arranging reality to reflect what you have assumed to be true. To persist is to become the unwavering beacon of your own desire, signaling to the universe that you will not accept anything less than its fulfillment. In both Sotar and Buddhe, in Saga or in Avad and Mach, persistence is not just a strategy, it is a way of life. It is the refusal to be swayed by appearances, the quiet assurance that your inner reality is more powerful than outer conditions. By holding steadfastly to your vision, by maintaining faith without hesitation, you awaken the creative forces within you. Your vision, nurtured by persistence, cannot fail. It moves silently yet irresistibly toward the world of form, until what was once imagined becomes undeniable reality. Every conversation you hold within your own mind is more powerful than any external dialogue. The words you speak, the thoughts you entertain, the assumptions you quietly nurture, all of these are shaping the life that is yet to appear. Many people underestimate the influence of their inner world, believing that only actions in the outer world create results. Yet it is the mind that molds reality, and your inner conversations are the blueprint from which all circumstances eventually arise. Each thought is a seed, and every word spoken internally determines whether that seed will grow into a life of fulfillment or frustration. Your imagination is constantly active, and your mind is always conversing with itself. If these conversations are filled with doubt, fear, or worry, then the outcomes you experience will naturally reflect those feelings. On the other hand, if you maintain inner dialogues of confidence, success, and certainty, you are sending a clear signal to your subconscious that these realities are already true. The subconscious cannot distinguish between what is imagined with conviction and what has already occurred. It simply responds to the assumptions you nurture with faith. Think about the power of a single idea repeated consistently in your mind. Every time you tell yourself that you are capable, worthy, and deserving, you reinforce a foundation upon which your desires can manifest. Every thought of lack, limitation, or fear, no matter how fleeting, erects a barrier that delays the fulfillment of your dreams. This is why the quality of your inner conversations matters more than you realize. Your outer world is merely a reflection of these internal declarations, faithfully echoing the beliefs you hold within. It is not enough to wish for good outcomes or to think positively occasionally. True manifestation requires conscious and persistent guidance of your inner dialogue. Speak to yourself in a way that honors the reality you wish to create. Replace uncertainty with assurance, complaints with gratitude, and fear with expectation. Live in the mind as though the life you desire is already unfolding. The more consistent and sincere your inner conversations, the stronger the currents of creation become. They silently influence your actions, decisions, and interactions, aligning everything toward the fulfillment of your assumption. Many people are unaware of how much time they spend in negative internal chatter. These unnoticed dialogues are powerful creators in disguise, continuously shaping circumstances that seem outside of one's control. By taking responsibility for every thought and every word spoken internally, you regain control of the creative process. You choose what will appear by choosing what you will entertain in your mind. This requires vigilance, self-awareness, and the willingness to redirect thoughts whenever they drift toward fear or doubt. The inner conversations are the unseen architects of your life. They construct the pathways, open doors, and orchestrate events in harmony with the beliefs you hold. To transform your reality, begin with the mind. Speak with certainty, imagine with vivid feeling, and maintain an unwavering dialogue of the life you wish to live. Every word, every thought, every assumption is a brick in the foundation of your manifested world. When guided consciously, your inner conversations become the bridge between imagination and reality, leading inevitably to the fulfillment of your desires. Gratitude is not just a polite gesture or a fleeting emotion. It is a potent creative force that accelerates the manifestation of your desires. When you feel gratitude for what you want, even before it appears in your life, you are acknowledging its reality in the inner world. This act of recognition signals to your subconscious that the desire is already fulfilled, and the subconscious responds by arranging circumstances, opportunities, and experiences that bring it into the physical realm. Gratitude is the bridge between imagination and reality, the invisible magnet that draws your desires to you with irresistible force. Many people wait to feel thankful until after their wishes have come true. They think that gratitude is a response to reality, but in truth it is a tool to shape reality. When you begin to feel grateful now for what you desire but do not yet see, you are planting a seed in fertile soil. The mind accepts this feeling as truth and works tirelessly to produce evidence that matches it. This is why the practice of gratitude is so powerful. It creates an inner reality that the outer world cannot help but reflect. The key to using gratitude effectively lies in feeling it sincerely and consistently. It is not enough to simply repeat words or go through motions. The feeling must be genuine, deep, and alive. Imagine the joy, satisfaction, and relief of having your desire fulfilled. Let yourself live in that feeling as if your wish has already arrived. Thank the universe for the abundance, love, success, or peace that is already yours in the invisible realm. As you immerse yourself in this state of grateful awareness, you activate the creative laws that govern your life. Gratitude also has the power to shift your focus from lack to abundance. The mind naturally moves toward what it emphasizes. When you dwell on what is missing, you invite more absence into your life. When you dwell on what you already have and what is yet to come, you attract more of it. Every act of gratitude is an affirmation of abundance, a declaration that you are ready to receive, and a signal to the universe that the desired reality is no longer a distant possibility, but an imminent certainty. Gratitude strengthens your faith in the unseen. Life often unfolds in ways that are mysterious and unseen, and waiting for physical proof can lead to impatience or doubt. By feeling grateful now, you cultivate a sense of trust that everything is already working in your favor. This trust is essential because faith fuels manifestation. The more gratitude you feel, the more aligned you are with the current of creation, and the faster the external evidence appears. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the doors of manifestation. It transforms longing into fulfillment, doubt into certainty, and waiting into receiving. By feeling grateful for what you desire before it manifests, you are not only acknowledging the power of your imagination, but you are also activating the creative forces within you. Gratitude amplifies your reality, drawing the invisible into form and turning the dream you cherish into a living, breathing experience. When practiced sincerely, consistently, and with feeling, gratitude becomes the most powerful ally in bringing your desires to life. Your imagination is far more than a place for idle daydreams. It is the workshop where your entire future is crafted. Every circumstance, every event, every opportunity you experience originates first in the mind. What you imagine with feeling, conviction, and clarity eventually takes form in the outer world. The imagination is not an escape from reality. It is the creative engine behind it. It is where you hold the power to shape your destiny, to mold circumstances, and to construct the life you truly desire. And many people dismiss imagination as mere fantasy, a place to indulge in what-ifs without consequence. Yet imagination is the language of creation. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is real. When you engage your imagination with sincere feeling, it accepts this vision as truth and begins the process of manifesting it. The unseen world is waiting for your direction, and your imagination is the tool through which you give it instruction. Every detail you imagine, every scene you live in mentally, becomes a blueprint for the universe to follow. The key to using imagination as a gateway to your future is consistency and feeling. It is not enough to occasionally visualize your desires. You must enter your imagined scene with full attention, emotion, and conviction. Feel yourself living the reality you desire. Hear the sounds, see the colors, and experience the sensations as though they are already yours. The moment you embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the subconscious mind receives a new command, and the creative forces begin arranging life to match this inner reality. Imagination is also the place where limitations are dissolved. The outer world may seem rigid, filled with obstacles and boundaries, but in the realm of imagination, there are no restrictions. Here, anything is possible. You can create outcomes that surpass the limitations of current circumstances, and by living in that imagined state with belief, you draw those possibilities into the material world. Imagination allows you to see beyond present conditions and step into the reality you intend to create. Imagination is a silent teacher. It shapes your beliefs, your decisions, and your sense of self. When you imagine confidently and persistently, you begin to act in alignment with the life you envision. Your choices, relationships, and opportunities start to reflect the inner blueprint you have established. Imagination does not merely anticipate the future, it actively constructs it, guiding you toward the experiences that match the reality you hold within. The moment you realize the power of your imagination, life becomes a conscious act of creation. You are no longer at the mercy of chance or circumstance. Your inner visions, held with faith and feeling, dictate the form your life will take. By engaging your imagination deliberately, persistently, and with full belief, you transform it from a mere mental exercise into the workshop of your destiny. Here, your future is crafted moment by moment, thought by thought, scene by scene, until what once existed only in your mind manifests fully in the world around you. As we bring this journey of understanding to a close, remember this. Everything you desire is already taking shape within you. Your feelings, your assumptions, your persistence, your inner conversations, your gratitude, and your imagination are the unseen architects of your reality. The world you see outside is simply a reflection of the world you cultivate within. Trust in the process, remain steadfast in your vision, and continue to live as though your desires are already fulfilled. Keep believing, keep imagining, and keep feeling the joy of your own manifestation, for the universe responds to the certainty of your inner state. Your reality is listening, and the seeds you have planted in your mind and heart are growing quietly but powerfully. Something extraordinary is coming together for you, and the moment it arrives, you will recognize it as the natural unfolding of your faith, your gratitude, and your imagination. Thank you for dedicating this time to yourself, to your inner growth, and to the understanding of your creative power. Keep believing, keep imagining, and know that your life is already moving toward the fulfillment of your deepest desires. Thank you.
Have you ever noticed how the things you chase most desperately seem to slip through your fingers like sand? Yet when you least expect it, when you've stopped searching so frantically, what you need suddenly appears. There's a profound truth here that might change everything for you. When you need nothing, you attract everything. I know what you're thinking. That can't possibly work. How can I receive what I want if I'm not actively pursuing it? How can abundance find me if I'm not searching for it? It sounds impossible, doesn't it? A contradiction that defies logic. But what if I told you this paradox contains one of life's most transformative secrets? A wisdom that sages, mystics, and philosophers across cultures and throughout history have discovered independently. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a perfectly still mountain lake at dawn. Notice how its unruffled surface creates a flawless mirror of the sky above. This perfect reflection only exists because of the water's stillness. This is what your mind can become, a clear reflection of life's possibilities when you release the turbulence of constant wanting. I'm inviting you on a journey today, not just through ideas and concepts, but through your own experience. Together, we'll explore how letting go of attachment creates the very space needed for abundance to flow into your life naturally and effortlessly. As the ancient Taoist sage Lao Tzu wrote, "If you want to become full, let yourself be empty. If you want to be given everything, give everything up." These aren't just beautiful words, they're an invitation to a completely different way of living. Take a deep breath now. Feel your shoulders relax. Let's discover together the power that awakens when you release your grip on life and allow life to reveal itself to you instead. I want to share a story with you, one that might feel familiar in ways you didn't expect. Picture yourself as a traveler, crossing a vast, unforgiving desert. The sun beats down mercilessly, each ray seeming to sap another drop of moisture from your body. Your lips are cracked, your throat parched. Every step feels heavier than the last. What do you want more than anything in this moment? Water, shade, Relief. You scan the horizon, squinting against the brightness, and there it is, or at least you think it's there, an oasis shimmering in the distance. Trees swaying slightly, the promise of cool water. Just a little further, you tell yourself, pushing your exhausted body forward. Just beyond that next dune. I need to reach it, I have to reach it. But with each painful step, the oasis seems to recede. The more desperately you chase it, the more it eludes you. Your focus narrows until that mirage becomes your entire world. Yet, it remains forever out of reach. Does this remind you of anything in your life right now? That promotion you've been chasing, the relationship you've been trying to force, the happiness you believe is waiting just around the next corner? We all have our mirages, things we believe we need to be complete, to be worthy, to be fulfilled. But what if I asked you to do something that seems completely counterintuitive? What if, instead of continuing your desperate pursuit, you simply stopped? Imagine our desert traveler finally collapsing in exhaustion, no longer able to chase the ever-receding oasis. In surrender, they sit in the shade of a small dune, closing their eyes, letting go of the frantic search. And in that moment of surrender, something remarkable happens. Their awareness expands beyond their thirst. They notice the cooling touch of the desert breeze against their skin, the profound silence that had been drowned out by their labored breathing and pounding heartbeat. And then, the subtle sound of trickling water. Opening their eyes, they discover what had been impossible to see while racing forward. A small spring bubbling up from the sand just steps away from where they sit. It had been there all along, hidden in plain sight, while they were fixated on the distant mirage. This is what happens when we release our death grip on what we think we need. The universe often has something better waiting for us, something we couldn't perceive while trapped in the tunnel vision of our desires. As the Sufi poet Rumi wrote, "When I run after what I think I want, my days are a furnace of distress and anxiety. If I sit in my own place of patience, what I need flows to me and without any pain." I've experienced this truth personally. The job I desperately wanted and didn't get led me to discover work that brings me profound fulfillment. The relationship I tried to force taught me what true connection actually requires. My biggest disappointments have often revealed themselves as disguised doorways to something far better than what I was chasing. What are you chasing right now? What oasis seems to constantly recede before you? I invite you to consider what might happen if you simply stopped running for a moment and allowed yourself to be exactly where you are. Let's get something straight. Surrender is not giving up. It's not passive resignation or admitting defeat. True surrender is an act of profound courage. It's releasing your white-knuckled grip on how you think things should be and opening yourself to how things could be. Think about the times you've struggled against life's current. Maybe you pushed a relationship that wasn't working, forced yourself toward a goal that wasn't truly yours, or refused to accept a reality you couldn't change. How did that feel in your body? The tension, the resistance, the exhaustion of swimming upstream. Now recall a time when you finally let go, when you stopped fighting what was and simply allowed. Remember the rush of relief, the sudden influx of energy, the clarity that washed over you. That's the power of surrender. This wisdom appears across spiritual traditions because it reflects a universal truth about human nature. In Buddhism, attachment is identified as the root of suffering. When we cling to specific outcomes or identities, we create our own pain. But in releasing attachment, we discover a freedom that's been available all along. Consider this. When your hands are tightly clenched around what you already have or what you desperately want, how can they possibly receive anything new? It's only in opening your palms that you create space for life to place unexpected gifts within them. I remember when I was fixated on a very specific vision for my career. I had the whole path mapped out, each promotion, each milestone, each achievement that I was convinced would lead to fulfillment. I pushed and strived and exhausted myself, pursuing this vision. Then circumstances forced me to let go. What seemed like failure at the time created space for opportunities I couldn't have imagined. Opportunities that aligned far better with my authentic gifts and brought me joy I hadn't known was possible. The Taoist concept of Wu Wei, effortless action, captures this perfectly. It's not about doing nothing. It's about allowing the right action to emerge naturally when you align with life's flow rather than constantly fighting against it. As Lao Tzu writes, "If you want to become full, let yourself be empty. If you want to be given everything, give everything up." This emptiness isn't lack. It's unlimited potential. It's the space where creativity flourishes, where solutions emerge, where synchronicities unfold. What are you holding on to so tightly that your grip is cutting off circulation to new possibilities? What beliefs, identities, or expectations could you loosen your hold on today? Remember, the universe abhors a vacuum. When you create space by releasing what no longer serves you, that space will be filled, often with something far better than what you were clutching so desperately. We've been taught to fear emptiness, to avoid silence, to fill every moment with activity, achievement, acquisition. But what if the empty spaces are where the magic happens? The void isn't something to fear. It's the womb of creation itself. It's where possibilities exist in their purest potential before taking form. Think about it. Music isn't just notes, it's the spaces between notes. A beautiful room isn't just furniture, it's the thoughtful arrangement of space. Your life isn't just activities and achievements, it's the breathing room between them that gives everything meaning. Ancient wisdom traditions recognize this truth. In Taoism, the void, Wu, is seen not as nothingness but as the source of all being. Lao Tzu describes it as the eternal void, filled with infinite possibilities. This void isn't empty in the way we typically understand emptiness. It's pregnant with potential, teeming with creative force. I've experienced this in my own creative practice. When I'm feeling blocked or depleted, forcing the work only makes it worse. But when I step away, when I create space and silence, when I allow myself to rest in the apparent emptiness, that's precisely when inspiration strikes. The solution arrives not from pushing harder, but from making space for it to emerge. Rumi captured this paradox beautifully. Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form. What you release creates space for new possibilities. What you surrender transforms into something new. The void is where this alchemy happens. This applies to every aspect of your life. When you clear clutter from your home, you create space for peace and clarity. When you release toxic relationships, you make room for nourishing connections. When you let go of outdated beliefs, you open yourself to deeper wisdom. The Buddhist concept of shunyata, emptiness, points to this same truth, that emptiness isn't a barren desert, but a field of infinite potential. By recognizing that nothing possesses fixed, unchanging essence, we free ourselves to experience the world as it truly is, fluid, dynamic, and constantly renewing itself. I invite you to embrace the void in your own life. Where might you benefit from creating space? What areas feel cluttered physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually? What would happen if you stopped trying to fill every moment and instead allowed yourself to rest in the creative potential of emptiness? Remember, nature itself teaches us this wisdom. The seed must break open and surrender its form to grow into something greater. The caterpillar must enter the void of the chrysalis to emerge transformed. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all, creating space for something new to emerge on its own. There's a fundamental misunderstanding in our culture. We believe that forcing, striving, and struggling are the only paths to achievement. We glorify the hustle, the grind, the relentless push, but what if there's another way? The Taoist concept of Wu Wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action, offers us a radical alternative. It's not about doing nothing. It's about allowing action to arise naturally from alignment rather than force. Think of a skilled musician who no longer has to think about where to place their fingers. The music simply flows through them. Or an athlete in the zone, performing at their peak without conscious calculation. That's Wu Wei. It's action that emerges spontaneously when you're in harmony with the natural flow of life. I've experienced this myself when I stopped pushing so hard against deadlines and instead found my natural rhythm of productivity. The work not only became more enjoyable, it became better. Solutions appeared effortlessly when I stopped forcing them. Creativity flowed when I released my death grip on outcomes. Lao Tzu describes this paradox beautifully. The Tao does nothing, yet nothing is left undone. When we align with life's natural current, we accomplish more by doing less. We become instruments through which life expresses itself, rather than exhausted swimmers fighting against the tide. Rumi offers similar wisdom. Don't move the way fear makes you move. Move the way love makes you move. Fear drives us to force, control, and manipulate. Love, which includes self-compassion, allows us to trust, flow, and respond organically to what each moment requires. This doesn't mean challenges won't arise, but it does mean we can meet those challenges differently, not with the tension of resistance, but with the supple strength of alignment, like a reed that bends with the wind rather than breaking against it. When we trust life's flow, when we move from love rather than fear, we discover a way of being that's simultaneously more effective and more peaceful. Doors open that forcing couldn't budge. Opportunities appear that striving couldn't reach. Solutions emerge that effort alone couldn't discover. Where in your life are you pushing too hard? Where are you swimming upstream against the current? What might happen if you relaxed into the flow instead? I challenge you to experiment with this approach in one area of your life today. Notice what happens when you release your grip on how things should unfold and instead allow them to develop. Naturally, you might be surprised by how much more gets accomplished when you stop trying so desperately to make things happen. Now, I'd like to guide you through a simple practice to integrate these insights into your daily life. Find a comfortable position, and if it feels right, gently close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths, feeling your body relax with each exhale. First, ask yourself, what am I holding on to right now that I could release? Notice what arises without judgment. Maybe it's an expectation about how your life should look, a relationship you're trying to control, a goal you're pursuing for the wrong reasons, a grudge that's become heavier than you realized. Whatever appears, simply acknowledge it with compassion. These attachments are natural, they're part of being human. Now imagine gently opening your hands and releasing this attachment. Visualize it floating away like a leaf on a stream. Feel the immediate sense of spaciousness this creates within you, the lightness, the freedom. Take another deep breath into this newly created space. Next, ask yourself, with this space now available, what am I ready to receive? Don't force an answer. Simply allow images, feelings, or insights to arise naturally. Trust what emerges. It might be something completely unexpected, something far better than what you were chasing. Feel yourself opening to receive these gifts. Notice how different this feels from the grasping energy of pursuit. There's ease here, grace, a natural flow. Finally, ask yourself, how can I move forward with more trust in life's unfolding? Perhaps there's a specific situation where you can practice more surrender, a relationship where you can release control, a goal you can pursue with more flexibility about how it manifests. Commit to one small action that embodies this trust. It might be as simple as pausing before reacting when things don't go as planned, or taking a day off from pursuing a particular outcome. Take one more deep breath, feeling a profound sense of trust wash over you. You are exactly where you need to be right now. You have everything you need in this moment. The universe is conspiring in your favor, even when it doesn't feel that way. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Carrying this awareness with you, we've come full circle in our exploration of this profound paradox. When you need nothing, you attract everything. This isn't magical thinking. It's a practical approach to living that aligns you with the natural flow of life. When you release the exhausting cycle of wanting, chasing, and grasping, you create space for abundance to find you. I've seen this truth transform lives, including my own. The moments of greatest fulfillment rarely come from getting exactly what we thought we wanted. They come from surrendering our rigid expectations and opening ourselves to something better than we could have imagined. This isn't about abandoning goals or ambitions. It's about pursuing them differently, with an open hand rather than a clenched fist, with trust rather than desperation, with presence rather than constant projection in nature. Today, I challenge you to experiment with this paradox in your own life. Where can you practice the art of surrender? Where might letting go create space for something better to emerge? Remember the desert traveler who found the spring only when they stopped chasing the mirage. Remember that the void isn't emptiness, but infinite potential. Remember that effortless action accomplishes more than relentless striving ever could. You are already complete. You already have within you everything you need. And when you truly understand that, when you embody that truth, life's abundance can't help but flow toward you. Need nothing, attract everything. What will you release today?